The Senate has passed for second reading the appropriation bill that seeks to withdraw 58.72 trillion naira from the Consolidated Revenue Fund for the 2026 fiscal year. Senators commended the priority spending on security, education and health. They also applauded proposed spending of 23 trillion naira on capital expenditure amid calls for effective legislative oversight. Now, the Senate had earlier repealed and reenacted the 2024 and 2025 Appropriation Acts, extending the validity of both fiscal documents, while the validity of the 2024 budget with a total expenditure of 43.56 trillion naira is extended to 31st of this month, 2025. Now, the lifespan of the 2026 budget is extended till the 31st of March, 2026, when the same year's budget is expected to take effect. Now, of course, the House of Representatives has also, given the nod to the revised 2024-25 budgets, with the 2025 budget to run until March 31, 2026. Now, that approval comes after the Committee of Supply conducted a clause-by-clause review of the budget, which was subsequently passed for third reading. Now, let's get into our conversation tonight. Joining us to analyze the passing of the 2026 budget for second reading by the Senate and the revised 43 trillion naira budget for 2024 passed by the House of Reps. I have Adolphus Aletor. He's an economic analyst, experienced bank executive in retail, commercial, and currently heads a leading investment bank in Lagos. Thank you so much for joining us on Newsnight tonight. First, let's establish your thoughts on the Senate's passage of the 2026 budget. Barely 2 days from when President Tinubu laid it before the Joint Assembly. What are your thoughts in terms of the rigor, and the scrutiny that budgets require before they are finally given the nod?
Okay, thank you for having me in your program this evening. It's my pleasure to be here. Yes, on the timing, you realize that the National Assembly has a characteristics habit of speedy assent, to every executive request, and I'm not surprised that at this time they have given that same attention to this request. But having said that, if you also look at the professional angle, that the budget should be approved before a certain time, you might want to give them accolade for giving that budget its due attention, because the budget 2026 is already late, because this is the middle or third week of December, and in time past, budgets like this are supposed to have been presented in around September so that the executive can put it before the House, and then the House will take a line-by-line, review of those figures. And considering that you are now having multiple budgets, for consideration, 2023, 2024, 2025, and then of course you're going into 2026. Many people have had issues with this administration running multiple budgets. So the attention that NAS has given it in terms of pushing it to the third reading, I think it's something that everyone accepts if this administration must make good of the 2026 budget.
Now, what's most important to us? Is it the budget cycle? When government ensures that the budget cycle is followed to the letter, or the performance of the budget? How would you, based on what you know, how would you rate the performance of the 2024-25 budget? And how does all of this hurt, things going forward in terms of budget delivery?
Yes, I mean, when you have a carryover, for 3 consecutive years, it doesn't look good for any administration. So, I mean, there's even no basis rating the government on that at all. Because, I mean, how would you not be able to finish 2024 budget, 2023 budget, you carry over to 2024, you carry over to 2025, and then we're in 2026. And we are told that part of the expenditure that it belonged to 2025, about only 30% was expended, and about 70% is being carried into 2026. And then, of course, we're also talking about 2025 budget being pushed into 2026 and having a terminal date of March 2026. So I think that if you rate this, if you rate the administration on budgeting, like most experts have said, their performance has been very poor, and it has some attendant implications for the economy because it promotes corruption. It promotes, government is the highest spender in Nigeria, and a lot of businesses depend on the budget. And I also like to let you know that budget is naira amount or currency in time. So you can't rule out the timing element in budget. So whether there is a cycle or a consistent cycle for the budget, or the budget has performed well, the two of them must go together. A budget that does not have an effective cycle, there is no way it can perform together, because budgeting is purely currency in time. And I think that is the assurance that this administration brings to us. That is what a lot of us have seen in the 2026 budget, with the government telling us, or the government making it very clear that this 2026 budget is going to correct a lot of distortions in the last 3 budgets that have not been expended. So timing it's important, as well as the performance. If the timing is wrong, the performance will be wrong.
Indeed, the president, in laying out that budget, actually assured that there will be stronger discipline in budget implementation. But can the government actually walk the talk? Let's stay on the issue of budget performance. Why do you think our budgets have not lived up to expectation over the years? It's not just under this administration. Would you say it has to do with ambitious revenue targets? Are they too, over the top? Is it a case of heavy debt profile? Is that what the situation is? I mean, we have a gap of 23 trillion, to close up. How do we address that? And of course, fragile fiscal health. Some analysts say that those are the challenges. That's why our budgets are not performing. But from your view, why aren't we doing well in terms of budget performance?
Yeah, I think that administration after administration, because they want to do well, they just want to perform, they just want to do something for the people to see, especially this administration. It hasn't been this bad in previous administration. I mean, there's a lot of things that have gone wrong with budgeting in this administration. If you talk about the timing, those days, I mean, even in the military days, by 1st of January, we all used to sit down before the television and hear the president or the head of state reel out the budget, for the year. But these days, that tradition has been swept under the carpet. So it's very important for this administration. And I think that the pressing need of the people, the pressing need of Nigerians have been, what I see, in my own opinion, have put a lot of weight on the administration. And if you consider where we are coming from, I think that the administration is putting a lot of pressure on themselves, to perform, which is why you will have a budget, and this administration have been consistently accused of spending outside budget. And of course, you have multilateral organizations condemn the administration for fiscal indiscipline, fiscal recklessness, okay? And then you also look at the realistic nature of those assumptions that we are looking at. Consider the 2025 revenue budget, where the government had budgeted for 40 billion and only 10 billion was realized. A whopping 40 trillion and only 10 trillion was realized. A whopping 30 trillion deficit. So, and you're going to start asking yourself, where did this come from? Was it that the government did not see it? So how realistic were their assumptions when they were putting all those figures down? So the administration, in my own calculation, have put a lot of pressure to perform on themselves and largely come up with unrealistic figures, because don't also forget that in 2024, the budget of 53 trillion had to be stepped down to 48 trillion. Okay, so at what point is the government not seeing the budget from the beginning to the end, that at every point in time we're always having deficit? I mean, having deficit in budgetary allocations is not something that any administration should be should be proud of. And I think that going into 2026, the government has realized it, and the president himself has assured everyone that this budget will sort out those distortions.
Very quickly, if I'm not being rounded up, legislative oversight is very, very important. What do you expect from the legislature going forward? And how do you think this budget 2026 will really perform? Because it's not taking off until March 31 of next year.
Yes, that has always been the problem. You know, there is a tradition at the National Assembly with budgets. So we haven't had what the National Assembly is going to enhance this budget with. Okay, in the local parlance, we call it padding, but I would want to use the word padding. I rather want to use the word enhancement. We don't know what they are going to enhance it with. And at some point, those figures are going to go back and forth. So I think that, yes, looking at the characteristic nature of NAS, they have been very cooperative with the ESCO, the executive arm. They've given them all support. I expect that support to continue. But what I am afraid of is that back and forth during that enhancement. And I'm afraid that this budget may not, be able to take effect as many of us would have wanted in the first quarter. So if this budget takes effect, by 1st of April, at the end of the first quarter, it will still be good. But my advice to the administration is that whatever variance they have, whatever differences they have, they should be able to consolidate this budget, in the year 2026, so that entering the year 2027, they have one single budget, so that the budget can indeed reflect its name, where they said it is a budget of consolidation, budget of renewed resilience, and budget of shared prosperity.
Indeed, and that's a very nice place to leave it tonight. Adolphus Aletor is an economic analyst joining us from Lagos. Thank you very much for your time and your insights.